7 decades of country music. Over 70 artists, all in one room sharing their songs, their stories, and their lives with you. This is Country's Family Reunion Nashville. Let's listen in on Volume 3.
What you say we get Mickey Gilley over to piano to sing and play a little bit for us? Mickey?
Thank you, Bill. If I sent a rose to you, every time you made me blue, you'd have a room full of roses. If I sent a rose of white, but every time that I cried all night, you'd have a room full of roses. And if I took the petals, I would tear them all apart. I'd be tearing up the roses just the way you broke my heart. If someday you're feeling blue and you could send a rose, maybe 2, don't send me a room full of roses. You know why? 'Cause all I want is my arms around you. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, pick. Now the girls all get prettier at closing time. Now they all begin to look like movie stars. Now the girls all get prettier at closing time. When a change starts taking place, but they go on every phase of the fallen angels of the backstreet bars. I could rate them on a scale from 1 to 10. I'm looking for a 9, but 8 could work right in. Few more drinks and I might slip to 5 or even 4. When tomorrow morning comes and I wake up with a number 1, swear I'll never do it anymore. All the girls all get prettier at closing time. Yeah, now they all begin to look like movie stars. Now the girls all get prettier at closing time. When the change starts taking place, there's a rule on every face of the fallen angels of the backstreet bars. Talking to you, Johnny. Hey. Get a little steel guitar here. Oh. Mean to criticize the girls at all. I'm no Robert Redford, even Overhaul. We all picture in our minds a girl that looks just right. Ain't it funny, ain't it strange, where a man's opinions change when he starts to face that lonely night. And all the girls all get prettier at closing time. Now they all begin to look like movie stars. Now the girls all get prettier at closing time. When a change starts taking place, there's a roll on every face of the fallen angels of the backstreet bars. What'd I say? Fallen angels of the backstreet bars. Thank you very much. I got to tell you a little story about that particular song because my friend Conway Twitty told me one time, you want to be successful in country music, you got to sing the songs that the ladies like. And I was surprised when the girls started coming up and asking me to do, don't the girls get pretty at closing time? And finally it dawned on me what was going on. Found out the guys started looking better than them at closing time.
Very true.
I mean, I've been out there with Johnny. I know what's going on.
You make it look so easy.
Try to.
No, you really do. I mean, he's over there playing all over that piano.
If it was hard, I couldn't do it, Bill, I can tell you.
What, Jan?
Well, you know, his hands hardly move. His fingers never leave his hands or anything, you know. It's so easy.
I found out something about Mickey yesterday, you know, because everybody knows Jerry Lee Lewis is his cousin, and Jimmy Swaggart is his cousin, and they all grew up in a little town called Faraday, Louisiana. And there's more celebrities per capita from Faraday, Louisiana than any other town in the United States, but the only one, the first one to get a street name for him was Mickey Gilley Boulevard in Faraday, Louisiana, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm saving the little alley back there for Jerry Lee and the other one on the other side of for Jimmy.
What happens at rush hour on Mickey Gilley Boulevard?
I don't know, but you can't get a ticket on my street. They won't give you a ticket on that street. I made a deal with them. You can go as fast as you want to.
You serious?
Just mention my name. They'll block you up forever.
Great to have you here, Mickey.
Bill, it's always a pleasure.
Great
I enjoyed
music,
doing your radio show, too.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun. Mickey did my radio show yesterday, and I asked him about that MG that hangs around his neck, which, of course, is Mickey Gilley. But he told me, what'd you tell me it stood for?
Stands for Mother Goose.
This guy right here, who walked in a little while ago, and we're very glad that you did. You have a necklace with your initials on it, the VG, right? Tell the story about the lady coming up to you at, I think it was at Fanfare, wasn't it?
No, she came. It was actually Vern Gosden has the necklace with the
Vern
VG
Gosden
on
has
it.
the necklace.
Yeah, and she walked up to Vern and said, "Oh, you're a big Vince Gill fan too." But it was out of my hands.
Everybody in this room, of course, has toured everywhere, I guess, just about in the world. But I was looking around here a while ago. Leroy Van Dyke, and it may be the formaldehyde in the coffee, I don't know. You've probably put as many miles on your bod and your bus, your guitar, anybody in this room. How many years have you actually been out there beating the highway?
Almost 52 years.
Wow.
And a lot of those, I've played more fairs than anything else. We played everything from soup to nuts, and we've done everything there is. But most of my business, over half of my business is fairs. We played about 3,500 fairs. And I've worked with almost everybody here. And unfortunately, many of our friends are gone that I worked with. And one of my favorites of all time was a young man named Roger Miller, and all of us, of course, probably had a hard time getting started in the business, and he almost starved out before he got started. Those of us that were already here in Nashville before he had a hit record know that he played fiddle for a while and drums for a while, sang backup for a while, did about everything, and wrote a lot of silly little songs. But I think the silliest, he didn't hit with serious songs. He had to hit with the silly songs. This might not be his silliest song, but it could very well be his best. And if we can get these guys to play one over there, they can't find the music, can they? Anyway, I got to tell you, I just vamped there. I remember one time we were in southwest Texas, and he hadn't had a hit record yet. And we were sitting at a joint next door eating a hamburger, and I noticed he kept looking at his watch. Look at his watch, look at his watch. He knew what time the show started. He knew what time he went on in the show, and he was timing something. Finally, he said, well, I'm going to put on my personality. Chase something, I don't know what it was, with the Coke, and he was ready when the show time came. Trailers for sale or rent, everybody saying, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, but 2 hours of pushing broom buys a 8x12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the road. Third boxcar, midnight train, destination Bangor, Maine. Old worn out suit and shoes. I don't pay no union dues. I smoke ghost stogies I have found. Short but not too big around. I'm a man of means by no means. King of the road. I know every engineer on every train, all of their children and all of their names, every handout in every town, and every lock that ain't locked when no one's around. I sing trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents, no phone, no pool, no pets. I don't got no cigarettes, oh, 2 hours of pushing broom buys an 8 by 12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the road. Didn't know we were going to do that. Just in it. Okay. I didn't know where you were going with that. I was going to save time, but really enjoyed working with Roger, and I hated to see him go. He was a multi-talented fellow that not many people could follow.
I imagine if we run around this room, everybody in here's got a Roger Miller story.
I was working with Ray Price at the time, and Roger called me and said, Darrell, he said, can I throw down at your place? And I had a basement apartment over here off of Eastland Avenue, just one room with a bed, little kitchenette. And I said, sure, Rog. I said, I'm gone quite a bit of the time anyway. He said, my wife and I just split up. And he said, I'm getting ready to record again. He said, I got no place to go. And he said, I just need a place to throw down. I said, well, come on over, you know. My house is your house. And I said, you can sleep in the bed when I'm gone if you want to, or we'll take turns sleeping on the couch in the bed. Doesn't make a difference. So I came in off the road one time, and Roger was standing there at the door, and he said, you know, Darrell, he said, they're going to let me record one more time for Decca, and then they're dropping me. He said, so I'm going to go in and record what I want to cut. I'm not going to cut what they're telling me to cut. He said, I'm not going to do it. If they're going to drop me, they're going to drop me. I said, okay. So I was in town for a couple of days, and he went in the studio, and I went back out on the road. Well, when I'd come in, Roger was standing in the door. He had just written Dang Me and Chug-a-Lug and recorded them. Next thing I knew, he went to California. And then a little later on, Larry Gatlin and I was together there in Austin, and Larry said, do you know Roger? And I said, a little bit. And he said, let's call him. And I said, all right. So we called him. And Larry said, is there anything that you need to tell Roger? And I said, yeah, ask Roger what he wants me to do with that 56 Ford he is sitting out here in my driveway. And I heard Larry laughing, and he said, Roger said to let the air out of the tires where it won't take up so much room.
Hey, Bill, are you through?
Yes, I'm through. Go ahead, Jim.
I was on that tour he's talking about with Farron, and Roger was playing drums. And we hit Fort Collins, Colorado, and we had a matinee. We had 2 shows to do. And we're taking a break, and we're all outside mingling and visiting. And do you remember that at all? You'll remember when I tell you, because there was a certain promoter that would promote the shows so he'd come back after he promoted 2 or 3 weeks, come back and be on the show. You know the names, but I won't name anybody. Anyhow, we're out there visiting, Roger and I, and this promoter came by with this guitar. He said, Roger, have you heard my last record? Roger said, I certainly hope so. That's how clever he was. You remember that now,
Helen, you did the duet a while ago with Jim Ed. How about a solo from Helen Cornelius?
I'd like to.
All right.
You play
I got
piano.
in this business as a songwriter, and this is a song that I wrote. And
Where are your britches at?
I know I'm trying to pull my britches up. Thank you. I actually wrote the second verse about my husband. And we were filming Nashville on the road, and you know, we women are hard to, well, men think we're hard to understand, but y'all never say the right things. And the night before I was flying to do 13 television shows, I decided to color my hair. And I went to the store, and this woman on the box was beautiful. And I colored my hair, and I came out orange. So I put a ball cap on and sunglasses. I got there just before midnight, before the store closed again. I got some really light blonde. This time I colored it, and I looked like a trailer park queen. And I mean, it was bleach blonde. It was awful. And I was laying on the bed crying my eyes out, and instead of my husband lying and telling me I looked pretty, he told me exactly what I looked like. And he's now my ex. Then I flew down to Florida, and instead of Jim Ed saying, "Oh, it's okay," he said, "Oh, well, it'll grow out." I said, "Not before 13 television shows." So I couldn't put in the second verse what my husband said I looked like, so I had to lie.
Why not?
But I also couldn't put what I said either, so. It's called Old Friend. Remember the night I had one too many. You carried me home, tucked me in. And when I lost my job and I was so broke, without asking, you paid my rent. And the very first time I fell so in love, you knew he was wrong as could be. But when he broke my heart and I felt like a fool, you were right there comforting me. Oh, friends know too much about you, but they're still around to the end. Oh, friends, they'll never forsake you, and I'm so glad that I have you, old friend. Here's the part where I lied. Remember the time I colored my own hair? It looked so bad, I wanted to die. But you smiled at me and you said I was pretty. Only for me would you lie? I've had lots of dreams, and some of them crazy, but you knew they all would come true. And if I had one wish for all of the world, I'd wish everyone friends just like you. Oh, friends know too much about you, but they're still around to the end. Oh, friends, they'll never forsake you, and I'm so glad that I have you. Oh, Thank you. And what nicer friends to sing it with. Thank you so much.
You know, Bill, I'd like to tell you one little Roger Miller story that happened to me in Austin, Texas. We were doing what's that show they do there in Austin? Austin City Limits. Yep. I'm getting too old. I can't remember anything anymore. But Roger came down, and there wasn't any refrigeration in the truck was in. They was going to take us over. And it was hot. And Roger said, he said, "Hey, is it hot in here, or is my career heating up again?" I never forget that one.
He was quick.
Bill, I'd just like to say that I think I was the first person that ever recorded one of Helen's songs that she wrote. Really? And it's wonderful to be her friend for so many years.
We're still writing together.
Yeah, we wrote some together recently, and it was so great. She said, I'll never forget one day, she said, "What do you think about this?" And I said, "I think we can do better." And she said, "Well, okay, tell me what you think, you know." And then in a few minutes, I said, "Now here, I'm gonna throw this out to you. And I know after what I said to you, you will tell me exactly what you think." But she's so great. So
I
I
was
just
sitting here
wanted to
thinking
say
about
that.
all these people talking about being on airplanes. You were Furlan Husky and going to an engagement on an airplane, and how much more money I could have made if I wasn't afraid to fly. If I can't get out of my car, I just don't want to go, you know. I don't mind flying, say, once a year, just to catch up on my drinking and my praying. But I just never have been comfortable up there. I mean, at 30,000 feet, if something comes loose and falls off, it's pretty much over. It's not like you can go, shh, where's that noise coming from? I'm going to pull off up here and see what that is. And look what's been in the news lately. I mean, come on. You know, drunk pilots. Drunk pilots.
That's right.
I mean, who's going to pull them over? Tell me. You know.
You know, the thing to do is just when you get on that plane, I figured it out. When you get on there, just don't put all your weight down.
That's because you don't weigh as much as I do. Oh, by the way, let me tell you something. Oh, gosh. I got to calm down on this. Here's how dangerous air travel can be. You ever been to the Caribbean or the Bahamas where they have the planes that go from one island to the next? Yeah. Call it island hopping. The plane looks like a crop duster. Yes. And they have to know the weight of everything that goes on board the aircraft before it can take off. I had never been through that. A guy comes up to me with a clipboard in his hand. He says, "Sir, how much do you weigh?" I said, "Why do you need to know?" He said, "So we'll know how much fuel to put in." I said, "Fill it up." I weigh 500 pounds, fill it up. Wouldn't you hate to die in a plane crash because some fat lady lied about her weight? You know? And they'll do it too, like, "Well, I just assume be dead, just tell him how much I weigh, you know." But, oh, by the way, the next time you're up there and they come around and take your drink order, just say, "I'll have what the pilots are having." I mean, I'd just rather be on the ground. That's all I'm
Always
saying.
remember, as long as it's flying right side up, you're okay.
Well, I'll try to remember that, Charlie.
Well, you know, I bought an airplane. I bought an airplane.
I bought 3.
Yeah, but
And I know
this
Roy's
one
got
damn
a
near
bunch
killed
of
me.
them. I had a bunch.
The 3? Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'm writing a song. It's called "I Want to Be Caught Dead Living." And you know, it's about this airplane that I bought.
Now,
you know?
Doug, I want to say that again.
I want to be caught dead living.
I thought that's what.
In other words, I want to be having the best time of my life when I fall over. You know, and I was having a good time that day until the engine cut off.
We know what happens though when you admit
That's just to see if you're paying attention.
Oh, I was paying attention. I looked down and I said, "This is a brand new plane. I'm fixing to crash it." I looked at the tree and I said, "That's what I'm going to hit." I took off with the tree and I said, you got so much time to think and it happened so quick, you know. I said, "I'm going to take this left wing, I'm going to dip it into the tree and it'll take some of the velocity out of the speed and everything, and I'm going to spin around and just hit the ground real easy." Well, the first time, it went good, I thought. Start off with. Yeah. It went bam, 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 bam. I said, "That's pretty cool." And then it hit the ground. Broke 3 of my ribs, cracked my ankle, tore my ear off, and bruised my kidney, and I'm still here.
Well, see, that'll be a lesson to you.
Don't forget our store down below where you can get Country's Family Reunion and Larry's Country Diner product.
Come fly with me, friendly skies.
I'm looking at my friend Janie Fricky behind me, and we shared a story. Not quite as bad as that, but we were coming out of, I think, Busch Stadium in St. Louis late one night on a private plane, and we could see one of the engines go poof. And my husband walked up to the cockpit and walked back down, and everybody looked this way, and everybody looked that way, and Janie was in the seat a little bit ahead.
I was a backup singer for her, and I'm sitting next to Billy Sanford, one of the top guitar players. You know,
he looked at me and he sat down. And he held my hand.
The wing is on fire.
They put it out. The fire was out on this right engine, but he grabbed my hand and he sat down. And he looked at me. He said, "I love you," and I said, "She said, oh, we're going down."
And we did. We landed in a wheat field.
We landed right on the edge of a college campus. Wait. The fire truck came to us out in the runway. We all got off, and the girl driving the truck said, "I am so glad y'all got the fire out because I don't know how to operate the water."
Driving the fire truck.
I'd have been making some pretty good water right there myself.
Charlie, talk about the time you were in the mid-air collision.
Yeah, we were coming from Rapid City, South Dakota, and we were descending from about 19,000 feet, and we was at 6,500 feet, and we felt this, and so we were playing cards, you know, and so our pilot says, "Buckle up, we have a problem." So our co-pilot pushed his feet over on the rudder, try to keep it, because what had happened, that's all we heard. All we heard was, "Buckle up, we have a problem." Well, we didn't worry about John. I mean, Bob always gets us where we're going. That's our pilot. I mean, he's in the Guinness Book of Records. He's fine. Now, here's the deal. So but I feel it going, you know, angling. It's not flying straight. But this wonk, okay, we still playing, right? Now, all we heard was, "Buckle up, we have a problem." We land. But by the time we got ready to land, it wasn't. We used to go to Dallas Love Field. We had Meacham Field between Dallas and. So I see the tower go by and we ain't landing. You know. And finally, I just cut everything on. And it drops. You know. So the right landing gear got off about that much. We had about maybe 50 yards left. Step off. But we see all these lights, these trucks. Remember now, all he said was, "Buckle up, we have a problem." We step off. Now we got Channel 8, Channel 5, all 3 channels. Charlie, what do you think? I said, what? Now they done told everybody on the ground what has happened. See, but we just said, they said, "Buckle up." And so we didn't hear the actual tape till the next year, the whole thing. And my pilot, after, you know, said, "Buckle up," he really didn't intentionally cut off the thing, but I'm glad he did. So what happened, we heard, "Yes, I'm 99% sure," he's talking to the tower, "I'm 99% sure we've had a mid-air collision." Now this is, so by this time, they're gonna throw that microphone in my face, and I look up, and that stabilizer, that's why it couldn't, because Cessna 172 took a chunk out of it. So I said, "Well, Charlie, what do you think?" I said, "I don't know what to think." So the pilot got off and said, I said, "Now, my lead guitarist, my concession man, my keyboard player, they always fly white knuckles anyway. So I'm glad that we didn't hear no more than what we did when he said, 'Just buckle up,' because they'd have probably been trying to get the doors open. We'd probably had to knock them out or something to keep them from done. Now, here's the thing I said to the reporter. "Charlie, what do you think about it? What?" I said, "Well, I didn't know. We didn't know we had a mid-air collision." But I said, "What were you doing?" I said, "Well, it hit," and he said, "Buckle up." We buckle up, and we was playing poker. Why did I say that? The next morning, entertainer almost deals his last hand. know how to have captions. They know how to put those captions in there. Almost. So I've never forgotten that. So I tell people now. See, I was coming over Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's before Braniff went out of business. We're in flight 66. I'll never forget the flight number. Americans still flying 707. Just over Tulsa, well, you understand what that is. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I'm talking to my neighbors right across from me, and it just went, went like, and this lady in front of me, yeah! She screamed.
That was Janie.
See, the thing in flying is just left and down. Oh, that's automatic. When a thing like that, just, there's no wonder when you go right or left. So we got to Dallas, and I can tell you when this was. This is when Darrell Royal beat Frank Broyles for the national championship. Huh? And the Longhorns beat Frank Broyles in Arkansas because Danny, their quarterback, threw a fourth quarter pass. Darrell did and beat him. That's where I met Darrell Royal in the airport. But now again, see, they announce all these things. But see, I was going to Amarillo for the fair. So I had 2 hours layover, so I went home. And I got there, and the wife says, I hear y'all. I said, yeah, it was almost. And she said, now, getting back to the one that we did have the mid-air collision, they called her up and told her, says, they've just had a mid-air collision, says, but they made it down. Said, well, how's he going to get home? That's all she asked. And then she thought, she said, because we were at a different, remember I said we landed at Meacham. So she said, oh, my goodness, what am I talking about? So she how's he going to get home? I'm just glad. My thing is, I've had 3. So John and I were in a little old bitty single engine coming from my home state of Mississippi. And it was 4 of us in there, his co-pilot and him. And we got caught in right over Dallas. And and man, that little thing, man, if it had flipped, I mean, because we got what they call wind shear. I mean, man, we finally got up. So we finally got out of it. And I say this. So it seemed like to me I've had all my 3. Coming over Tulsa. And the mid-air, so I'm not going to go up there. So just remember, if it's right side up, that's the way I feel about it. As long as it's right side up, we're going to be all right.
I've got 4 flights in the next 4 weeks, and this is not making me feel good.
It's going to be all right.
One of them was with Charley Pride, and he's had his 3 strikes. That's what scared me.
Well,
he's had 3 strikes.
Just think about them. How many? You've flown a lot. Think about them. You had yours too. That's the way you think.
You can go to Mickey Gilley's theater in Branson, Missouri, and buy a $5 souvenir of his crash. He's smart enough to take pictures. He lived through it, and he sells them, and he signs them.
You know, I tried to sell my plane.
Roy Clark's been a pilot. Goodness, Roy Clark's been a pilot for many years. You ever had a close call? Piloting a plane?
Well, the FAA probably is listening. They're going to watch this, so I got to be careful. Well, one was when I first started flying, to use it in touring. I had a single-engine Beechcraft and flew by myself everywhere I went, just me and my guitar. And so I was living in Maryland, so I was going somewhere, and I stopped in South Carolina. And it was the first time I'd ever landed at an airport that was both military and civilian. So I called the approach and told them my number, and 1132 Charlie, and my intentions were to land. And they give me a heading to stay on. And then they said, 1132 Charlie, try to keep your speed up. You got a jet right off your right wing. He'll be going over to the military side. Then the other controller calls me and wants me to know if I can slow up because I am overtaking another airplane on this side. And so then another controller comes in. I think he's a trainee. And now he tells me to do a 360 and come back and get in line again. Well, the last thing you want to do is stall an airplane. You want to keep the speed up. So when I got to the end of the runway, I was doing about 190, which I should have been doing about 85. And I said, I'm getting out of here. I mean, I've had it with all these jets and everybody, and I'm looking at pilots and jet airplanes right next to me, and they're giving me thumbs up. And so I got it on the ground, but I was going so fast that it lifted up again in what we call ballooning. And I went up like that, then I come back down. I had like 20 miles of runway because of the jet, so I didn't have to worry about that. So it went up again, and I forced it back down to the runway and eased back, and up we went again.
Well, he's trying to tell you got current. You got 3 takeoff and landings without one pass.
Yeah. No, that's what he said. The tower called me back and he said, 1132 Charlie. He says, when you get through landing, would you take a left? You talk about embarrassed.
Would you take a left? I think we need a song from one of the best singers in this room, and he ain't said a word this whole time we've been sitting here. Our buddy Gene Watson back over here, one of everybody's favorite singers.
I don't know why y'all want to pick on me. I've been enjoying this one. You know, I know everybody in here has had, some fantastic songwriters write songs for them. You and so many others, and so many of you are great songwriters. But I found out, and I've told this story before, but songwriters lie to you. They write good songs and they lie to you. And
really?
One of the best in the business was a friend of mine by the name of Dave Kirby, who was a fellow Texan. And I was kind of down and out and looking for the right song. And I went up to Dave one day and I said, Dave, won't you write me a hit song? I said, you're writing them for everybody else. And I said, it all pays the same. And he said, well, I'll just do that. And I thought that was too easy, so I shook it off, went on back home to Houston, and it wasn't too long before I got a little cassette through the mail from Dave Kirby, and I couldn't believe it, because he'd told me he was going to write me a hit song. He said, it'll be a good one. I said, I'll guarantee you it'll be a good one. I got it and listened at it, and I knew when I listened to it, I said, boy, this is a hit song. If I ever had one, this is a hit song. Well, I couldn't stand it. I got all the guys together, and we jumped on the bus. I booked studio time at Hilltop Studios. And that was when you could pull up in front, after you climbed that hill. We pulled up in there, and I was a little early, and I was waiting on another artist that was in there recording, and it was none other than Ray Price. That was good until I heard what he was recording. Seems as though Ray got my song before I did. And he was recording it. Only difference was that was back in the day of the tape when I heard it. I said, guys, we're going to go in there and record this song just like if he never recorded it. And the only difference was when I left there, I had that tape under my arm, and I headed for Epic Records. And I said, y'all better get this out in a hurry. One of them big boys just got through recording it. We did, and it was a big record for me, and I'm thankful for that. But Dave Kirby was such a fantastic writer, wrote so many great songs for me and everybody else that wanted one. But if I can get the boys started, I'm going to sit over here and do this. One called Memories to Burn. Lady, lately you've been getting under my skin. I hope I don't have to say, there she goes again. Please don't be another lesson I'll have to learn. 'Cause I've got memories to burn. Please don't make me have to think about you when you're gone. I've had enough to think about before you came along. If you're just making memories, you'll have to wait your turn. 'Cause I've got memories to burn. Baby, you're gone. Just address your memories to whom it may concern. 'Cause I've got memories to burn. Now please don't make me have to think about you when you're gone. I've had enough to think about before you came along. If you're just making memories, you'll have to wait your turn. 'Cause I've got memories to burn. Well, if you're making memories, you'll have to wait your turn. 'Cause I've got memories to burn. Thank you.
Did Ray Price get mad at you?
I'm not even sure that Ray knew I recorded it. Ray didn't release his off the album, and later on I talked to Kirby about it, and I think he lied to me then too. He said, oh no, he said, I done talked to Ray. He said he guaranteed me it wouldn't be a single.
May I say something, Bill? Please. And this ain't meant to embarrass you. I've worked a lot with Gene. This man has got nothing against anybody else. To me, this man's got the purest country voice ever, I think. I mean, he's such a good singer. He kills me.
Bless your heart. Let me tell you something. The good Lord gave it to me. I just try to do the best I can with it. I never know what's coming out till I open my mouth.
Well, it sounds great, man.
Keep my fingers crossed and hope for the best.
And you did it sitting down.
Well, that's because I was too lazy to get up.
There's a lady over here that has been relatively quiet this whole time, and I think we need to get her in the spotlight. Miss, as Porter said for years, pretty Miss Norma Jean. Yeah. So great to have you here in the circle with us.
Thank you. It's real wonderful to be here, and I've really been enjoying listening to all my old friends. Seen some old friends today I haven't seen in a long time, a lot of them, and what a pleasure.
You're living out in Branson, right?
I've been in Branson about 8 years now. Kind of been out there and started doing my own thing, I guess you'd call it. But I've been there all that time, and during that time I've done my own show. I've done the Grand Ladies show, which we're doing again now, and we're very happy to have that show back going with Gene Shepherd and all the girls, and we do that at the Garden Country Theater now, and so we're starting out back in April. And I did something else 4 years ago, or 4.5 years, that I'm very pleased with, and it's really been something that's really been good for me. Well, first of all, I'll tell you this little story to kind of get into this, I guess. You know, I worked with Porter Wagner for so many years, and he taught me so many things, and some of them I can tell, some of them I can't. But one of the things that Porter taught me was to sing gospel music. And I wasn't a Christian at the time, and I thought, well, that's what he wants, that's what I'll do. I'd put on a pair of overalls and rode in a little red wagon if he'd wanted me to, I guess. But anyway, he taught me my first gospel song. And after that time, it was many, many years before I actually knew what I was singing about, because I didn't become a Christian until 1975. And that's when I first invited Jesus Christ to come into my life, and he did, and he certainly helped me a great deal, I can say that much. And I owe a lot to him because he has really changed my life. Most of y'all know the old me, and a lot of you don't know the new me. I told one friend of mine the other day, I said, you've missed all the good years. But when I got to know the Lord, then I got to wanting to sing gospel music. And so I did somewhat in different churches, and I'd kind of give my testimony of what happened to me and sing some gospel music. And then finally, I really kind of got serious about it. We had been doing the Grand Ladies show, and I had moved to Branson, and I liked it so well there. I just stayed, and I thought, well, I'll find a place to do a gospel show. But nobody was interested, so they wanted me to do country. But I was kind of determined, so I said, well, I'll just start my own. So I at this time had met my husband out there. We'd been dating quite a few years, and he had moved to Branson to retire, and as I basically had, except for just singing enough to kind of entertain myself, you know. And he said, well, I'll help you get something started. And then I talked to Joanne Cash and some of the folks at Cowboy Church here in Nashville, and they said, well, why don't you start a Cowboy Church of Branson? So I did, along with my husband. We decided that we'd give it a shot and started it. And so I tell everybody, well, that's the Lord finally gave me a place to sing my gospel music. So I have, we've been doing that now for 4.5 years. My husband and I got married before we started that, and so.
Well, that's great.
And he does the preaching, Al Martin.
Well, do you still go back and sing some of your old country songs?
Yes, I do. I do quite a bit of country music. Of course, we do it with the Grand Ladies show. We've been doing that. Those of you that aren't familiar with the Grand Ladies show, Gene Shepherd started the Grand Ladies many years ago, and I take credit for helping get it started back in Branson this time.
The reason we got started about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
A guy booked me and Norma Jean and Wanda Jackson together in Oklahoma City.
Right.
It was a big warehouse, a Kroger warehouse or something. I don't know how many people we had, but we just couldn't get them all in. So on the way home, Benny, my husband, said, you know, that's really a good concept for a show. Said, you need to go with the Grand Ladies of the Grand Ole Opry. But we couldn't go with that because a couple of us wasn't from the Grand Ole Opry, but we said the Grand Ladies of Country Music. But Celie and myself and Janice and Skeeter Davis was known as the Grand Ladies of the Grand Ole Opry for many years. But we worked the Grand Ladies of Country Music in Branson at the God and Country Theater. And it's a good show. It's a good show.
Well, you've been very successful with it. Norma Jean, I don't know what they're doing to your microphone over there, but could we get a song out of you?
They told me to unplug, and I didn't.
All right.
It's hard for me to sing this song without my old buddy Buck Trent. And I asked him a while ago, because he played banjo, you know, on all of my records, all of my hit records, and many of them that weren't hits. Yeah. And we worked together for 7 years. Buck and I did, along with Porter. And he agreed to play a little music for me today. Cool. So I'll get up there with him and we'll do something. I'll tell you what I'll do. Porter picked so much of my material. He picked almost all of what I call the good material, you know. Oh, I'll have to hold on to that. We're wired up around here, aren't we? And he brought this song to me that I want to do today. And he said, I know this song would be a hit if we did it as a duet, but he said, I think it will be a hit anyway if you do it by yourself. I think that was a compliment. Not sure. But he was right, and so we came up with this song that Buck played on. I think I can get back there with you. Probably do. Yeah, let me get through there. And I'll just use this one. All right.
Go all the way. When you love halfway, someone's got to pay. I won't accept a part of you, so let's go all the way. Love me day and night, then I'll know it's right. Love me till I hear first time I met you, oh, I knew that I'd be true. Won't you name our wedding day, and let's go all the way. Let you and I pretend our love will never end. Tell me you'll be mine today. Oh, let's go all the way. All the way means happiness, living side by side. Halfway means a heartbreak if one of us should lie. Just give me a clue that you love me too. Hold me in your arms and say, oh, let's go all the way.
That's great. That's terrific. Over my shoulder is a guy that's been sitting right across from me throughout the day today. One of the most legendary steel guitar players, I guess, in the history of country music. And he's got the guitar that he's had ever since 1949. Wow. This guitar that he played, he told me a while ago that Hank Williams in his lifetime had 11 #1 records. That steel guitar was on 10 of the 11 #1 records that Hank Williams had. It's also the steel that played the intro on Patsy Cline's Walking After Midnight. What a legendary intro that was. And he's agreed to pick a couple of songs for us. And Charley Pride's gonna join him because Charley did a tribute album to Hank Williams one time. And I don't think it could get a whole lot better than Don Helms on the steel guitar and Charley Pride on the vocals and a great Hank Williams song. Take it, Don.
Your cheating heart will make you weep. You'll cry and cry and try to sleep, but sleep won't come the whole night through. Your cheating heart will tell on you when tears come down like falling rain. You'll toss around and call my name. You'll walk the floor the way I do. Your cheating heart will tell on you. Your cheating heart will pine someday and crave the love you threw away. The time will come when you'll be blue. Your cheating heart will tell on you when tears come down like falling rain.
Great job, Charlie. Don, you were telling me over there a while ago that you have played with how many members of the Country Music Hall of Fame?
53.
Wow.
Either on the opera or on records or on the stage with 53 who are Hall of Famers.
But didn't this just make 54?
54. Thank you, Charlie.
Wow, and you played this very instrument with all of them?
Yeah.
Roy Clark said that he was there the day that you traded for this guitar. Tell me that story.
A guy came, I had recorded with Hank, and he had a record that was going real good. And I had played a Fender guitar, and this guy came to a show in Baltimore and said, I've come to trade guitars with you. And I said, yeah, well, what do you got? And he said, come here and I'll show you. And he went over and opened it up, and I looked at it, and boy, it was pretty and smelled good, you know. And I said, what kind of trade you got in mind? He said, I want your guitar and $200. I said, man, I ain't got $200. He said, you got 100? I said, yeah. And I said, well, you realize now that you'll have to wait the rest of the day because I'll have to take this up to the room and put strings on it that I tune to. And so he waited around, and when the show was over, he took that other guitar, and I gave him his $100. So I've got $100 in that.
Now, you never went to playing the pedal steel guitar like so many other people?
Yeah, about 35 years.
Oh, did you?
But it didn't excite anybody much. So I got a garage full of pedal steel. But this one here, Alan Jackson borrowed this guitar once. It was in the Willie Nelson Museum for 8 years. And people would come to Nashville, and they'd come out to my house, and I'd have to take them to the museum to look at that. And Alan Jackson wanted to borrow it to use in a TV special he was doing a Hank segment. And I went and took it out of the museum and let him use it. And when he sent it back, I opened it up, and there was a check in there. And I told Miss Hazel, I said, I got this thing figured out. I'm going to retire and start booking that guitar. But it's been with me all these years, and I went back to it. After I got it out, I never did put it back in the museum. And I had a stroke back about 4 years ago, and I couldn't play anything. No kind of guitar could I play. And so in order to try to learn how to play again, I had one of my friends set this up in the house. So I started playing it again, and I called Hazel in there one day. I said, you know, I don't know how many years I got left that I can do this, but from here out, everything I play will be on that.
Can you still play that great intro on Walking After Midnight? Just a little bit of it.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh. Did Hank ever tell you when y'all recorded, did he tell you what to play, or did he just let you play what you wanted to play?
He said, give me something. He said, it's just a poem unless you give me some music. And that's what I did. I played what I wanted to. And I still do that. I play mostly all steel guitar shows now. And for the ones who would like to hear me play what I played for Hank Williams, that's what I do. I play about 40 minutes of nothing but Hank. I don't ever have to learn no new song.
You don't have to. You got a room full of people here that love what you play and would love to hear you play another Hank Williams song. Pick out one and play it.
My favorite of all Hank's songs was his favorite also, and I'd like to play that song in memory of all the guys all the drifting cowboys who are going on, Cedric and Jerry Rivers, and I'm the only survivor. Me and this and Miss Hazel, that's all that's left of the Hank era. And
except the memories.
Memories, I got a lot of them, but I like to do this song as a tribute to the rest of the guys who are no longer with us. And if you close your eyes for about 1 minute and 20 seconds, let me see if I can make you think of Hank Williams.
I bet you can. Don Helms.
He played on Cry Cry Darling in 1954.
Played on your record of Cry Cry
Mhm.
Darling?
54.
1954. Nobody quite like him.
I played down in Mississippi.
That's
not-
terrific.
Not too long ago, and he booked Don in to play steel for me. I've never been so happy.
Hey, I'll tell you, Bill, I was working, and I had the good fortune to travel overseas with Don and the Drifting Cowboys, and there was a whole big package, and we played England, we played Ireland, we went on over to Germany, we went to Switzerland and all that. And I made one mistake on that whole trip. In Zurich, Switzerland, I had to follow him and the Drifting Cowboys. That was the one mistake I made. Because when they got through, boy, I mean, it was over with. I've never seen as many people go so wild over that band as they did over the Drifting Cowboys. And Don, and I think Jerry was still with the group and all that. And it was one of the best trips. I got more memories out of that trip and spending so much time with Don that of any trip I've ever been on in my life. And let me tell you something, he's a prince of a guy, and it just don't get no better musician than he is.
And he can tell you a few stories,
He
too.
can tell you some stories.
Tell you some. Vince, you're just shaking your head. Feel like you're going to school? Been to school?
Yeah,
Were you a
that-
Hank Williams fan?
Well, sure. That was, that right there is one of the best memories I'll ever have.
Coming from you, that's quite a compliment because you're quite a musician.
Well, I just, I had a fella that played with me for the last 17 years of my records, and he just passed.
John Huey? Yeah. Great steel guitar player that we all loved.
Right.
I was teasing you and picking on you a little bit when you walked in here. I said something about your guitar because you didn't have it in a case and it's got a scratch or two on it. I didn't realize that was a Martin guitar. Don't they make cases for those?
Oh, yeah. Who needs one? It's raining out. It'll be all right. Oh, sorry, that shook me up.
Well, I think it shook all of us. Did it shake you up so much you couldn't do a song for us?
I was going to see if you'd play with me. Will you play with me? I don't care if you mess the whole thing up.
You don't care if he knows the song or not.
Because I'm not going to do very good. Boy. Well, I aspired to be a musician. I wasn't the guy that stood at the mirror with a hairbrush trying to be Elvis or anybody else. And
But you're as cute.
well, thank you. I just, that's all I wanted to be was a player. And then somebody said, can you sing? And I said, well, I know a couple songs. And they haven't shut me up since I found out the girls liked it. But this is, I want to say this to all of you, this whole room full of people. I'm not of your generation, but there's nobody on this earth that respects you more than I do. Boy, this got weird quick. I was not emotional at all until I heard Don play. And just the sound of that instrument is, to me, it's the very beginning. The intro to those songs, the Hank songs, they're exactly what we all aspired to do. It's the blueprint. It's the Holy Grail, and it takes the musicians to make any of us sound worth a flip. And so that's all. Like I said, all I ever wanted to be. So I'll try to choke through this one. Boy, I wish I hadn't picked a high one, but. I live in a nice house because I sing like a woman. I have to deal with that. Really slow. You're climbing mountains
and I'm standing still. You live for the moment. No future, no past. I may be a fool to love by the rules and want it to last. If you ever in mind, I'll be here and easy to find. You live for the moment. No future, no pain. I may be a fool to love by the rules and want it to last. The music has ended. Still you wanna dance. I know that feeling, babe. But I can't take the chance. Oh, you live for the moment. No future, no pain. I may be a fool who love by the rules and want it to last. Oh, yeah, if you ever in mind, I'll be and easy to find. Oh, you live for the moment. With no future, no past. If you ever have forever in your mind. Thank you, Mr. Don.
Don Helms has now played with 55 members of the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Hey, if you like that one, you're gonna love this one. or this one?